I am writing this because silence is worse. I've tried not talking about it. I've tried pretending it was exhaustion, stress, imagination. But when you are the only one left, denial becomes another kind of lie, and lies don't stay quiet for long. There were four of us in the house at the beginning. By the end, there was only me. The place didn't belong to us. That much is clear now. But at the time, it felt temporary, harmless. An old rural house, isolated, inherited through paperwork so old no one remembered who originally owned it. No neighbors, no history anyone could explain. Just walls, land, and quiet. The quiet was the first thing that felt wrong. Not peaceful quiet, expectant quiet. The kind that presses against your ears until you become aware of your own breathing, then your heartbeat, then thoughts you didn't invite. The house reacted to attention. I don't know how else to say it. When we argued, the pipes knocked. When someone cried, the floor creaked. When the house was ignored, it seemed to tighten. At first we laughed. Old buildings make noise. That's what people say when they don't want to think further. But the house didn't just make noise. It listened. You could feel it when you were alone in a room. The sense of being centered, framed, like the walls had subtly shifted to face you. Mirrors became unbearable, not because of reflections, but because of the delay. You would move, and your reflection would feel half a second late, as if considering whether to follow. Sleep stopped being restful. Dreams became repetitive, circular, always the same image. Hands pressing into wet earth, pushing something down, smoothing the surface, pretending it was finished. I would wake with dirt under my nails. So did the others. We stopped sleeping at the same time. Someone was always awake, not by agreement, instinctively, as if the house didn't like us unconscious together. One of them was the first to change. They became obsessed with fixing things that weren't broken, repainting walls that were already clean, replacing furniture that hadn't aged, rearranging rooms without reason. They said the house felt unfinished. Another stopped eating, said the food tasted wrong, like it didn't belong inside the walls. They lost weight quickly, their eyes sinking back as if something else was taking priority over their body. The third started talking to the house, not jokingly, whispering near walls, apologizing when objects fell, thanking the floor for holding. I was the only one who noticed the pattern. The house didn't attack us. It redistributed us. Every day, one of us felt more like a guest, and one felt more like part of the structure. Rooms began to feel claimed. You would enter and immediately feel you shouldn't be there, like stepping into someone else's thoughts. Doors closed on their own, but only behind specific people. I started documenting things, writing times, sounds, behaviors, trying to hold on to logic like it was a railing. That's when the house responded directly. I found my notebook open one morning. A sentence had been added, written in my handwriting. You are paying attention now. I burned the notebook. The smell didn't leave the house. From that point on, things accelerated. Time blurred, days overlapped. The sun felt dimmer through the windows, like it was being filtered through memory instead of glass. One night, I heard breathing under the floor, slow, content, not trapped, resting. I didn't wake the others. I already knew it wasn't under the house. It was within it. And something inside the walls was learning which of us belonged there most. The house didn't act suddenly. That's what people misunderstand when they imagine places like that. They think of violence, chaos, something loud. This wasn't loud. It was intimate, deliberate, like a decision made slowly, carefully, so no energy could be wasted. The first one didn't disappear. They settled. I noticed it when the room stopped changing, while the rest of the house felt unstable, walls breathing, spaces subtly shifting. That room became fixed, heavy, anchored. They spent entire days inside, door closed, lights off. When I tried to speak through the door, they answered without opening it. Their voice sounded closer than it should have, like they were standing right on the other side. But when I finally forced the door open, the room was empty, not abandoned, integrated. The walls were warmer there, the floor solid, almost reinforced. The air carried the faint smell of skin and iron. I understood, without anyone telling me, that the house had accepted them. They were no longer missing, they were supporting something. The second one resisted harder. They tried to leave, packed bags, started the car, walked down the road without looking back. I watched from the window, relief and terror tangled together. They made it about 50 meters. Then they stopped, not abruptly, gently, as if they had remembered something important they forgot inside. They turned around and came back. When I asked why, they said, "It feels wrong to abandon it halfway." That night, they stood in the kitchen for hours, staring at the wall where the cabinets met the ceiling. Their fingers moved against the plaster, tracing lines only they could see. By morning, the wall had a new seam, perfectly straight. The third one didn't fight or accept. They understood. They were calm, too calm. Said the house wasn't cruel, just unfinished. That it needed presence the way bodies need organs. That structures fail if something essential is missing. They told me I was incompatible. Some people hold things together, they said. Others are meant to live and remember. That was the first time I realized survival wasn't accidental. It was a function. The house began rearranging itself openly after that. Hallways shortening, rooms repeating, doors leading back to where you started. It wasn't hiding anymore because there was no need to. It had enough. I stopped sleeping, not out of fear, out of clarity. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt myself spreading, losing edges, becoming useful in ways I couldn't reverse. The house tested me. It gave me moments of comfort, warmth in the walls, silence that felt safe, the promise of rest without thought. All I had to do was stay still. I almost did. On the final night, the house felt complete, balanced, no movement, no noise, the kind of quiet you only feel at the end of something. The front door was open. That's important. It had never been opened before. I understood then. It wasn't letting me escape. It was done with me. I walked out without running, without looking back. The house didn't follow. It didn't need to. Structures like that don't hunt. They wait for replacements. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't report it. I didn't go back. The house doesn't exist on maps anymore. Maybe it never did. But sometimes, when I stay somewhere too long, when I rearrange furniture for no reason, when I apologize to walls, when silence starts to feel attentive, I know it remembers me, and I understand now why I was allowed to leave. Someone has to carry the knowledge forward, because places like that don't end. They just finish being built.